Hey everyone, this is my brother Michael.
My brother Adam.
We're the Sharp Brothers.
You're listening to Mentoring for the Modern Musician.
Hey everyone.
Hey everyone, welcome back.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Mentoring for the Modern Musician.
Very happy as always to have you guys joining us.
As always, we're happy to have some new folks too.
Yep.
That's always fun.
That's always good. Make sure, you know what? Unlike many podcasters, ours are all up there, man.
Yeah.
There's no premium.
Right.
You got to go into sign up for a month of.
Nope.
They're all up there on all of your streaming platforms.
Yeah.
It's not iTunes anymore. What do we got? iPod, the podcast, Apple Podcasts.
Applecasts.
Applecast.
I'm just going to shorten everything.
Just
Applecast.
Acasts.
That's right.
Acasts. And Spotify and wherever else you're getting your podcast needs met, right?
Exactly.
But we have them all up. We're rapidly approaching.
We're getting close to 100.
100 episodes. It's kind of cool.
Pretty excited about that.
A lot of pressure though.
Is it?
For me.
Doesn't feel like a lot of pressure.
It doesn't
for me.
feel like a lot of pressure. I'm like, what's the 100th episode going to be?
I'll be really way more excited. Look, Mark Maron just did his 10,000th.
No, his 1,000th, not 10,000.
You sure?
Yeah, he's been doing it for 10 years.
All right, so 1,000. Mark Maron has 1,000.
That's true.
Podcasts. So I'm not like 100. I'm like, okay.
Mark Maron doesn't have any kids.
It's like we're still a baby band.
He's got a lot more time than we do. But so today, on the podcast, we are talking about something.
I thought that we had done a podcast on this already.
I thought so too, and I zipped through it twice before we.
Yeah,
because we were going to do a redo.
We were maybe we've just mentioned it a lot in the very beginning, and we weren't.
And that is that there is no silver bullet.
No, for your career.
To make your career.
There's no one thing.
You're a star, kid.
Yes, there's no. It's just
where you get discovered.
Right. Maybe that mythos was supported by something.
Sure.
In the past, maybe the industry was so different that winning one talent contest or one you happen to be. There's always the story, right? Of particularly, I think of the modeling industry, right?
Someone walks in and sees you.
Someone sees Kate Moss in an airport in London and says, you should model and I'm going to get you a contract. And they do. Right.
Sure.
And that is actually what happened.
People get hit by lightning too.
And people win the lottery.
Yes. And
it's not a business plan.
Exactly. well, we're very excited, not for the people getting hit by lightning, but we're very excited for the people winning the lottery.
Absolutely.
That's not like a retirement plan.
It is not.
Right?
It's not. That's not a good plan for increasing your cash flow.
It's not a plan.
It isn't at all.
I mean, I don't know what that is. Is that like a fantasy?
It is a fantasy.
It's a fantasy.
It totally is.
Which is a great place to start.
It is.
But that's not really how careers are made.
No.
Right?
No. But so when we were talking about this earlier and decided to finally, we're like, I don't care if we've done it already. We're going to do it again.
We'll do it again.
That is the stages of where you need to be in your thought process.
Right.
For this career.
Right. Which is not unlike the stages of grief.
There's no anger in these stages. There's no anger.
Oh, there's not in these stages.
No, not in these stages.
But in your career?
That's a whole different thing. That's doing an autopsy of your career. That's a whole different thing.
That's a whole different thing. No, but right. So the stages of things.
That's when you've decided not to perform anymore and start a podcast. That's
right. Then you've anger, depression, bargaining, acceptance. Denial's earlier in there, I think.
Way earlier.
Denial, anger, bargaining, acceptance.
Exactly. So no, but when you are so again, we got onto this because all of these podcasts that we're doing are all based around themes or subjects or incidents that we wish someone had talked to us about when we were in our teens, 20s, and 30s.
That we wish there were, there weren't really podcasts back then, but if there were somebody to talk to us or a show or a...
Right.
And we did, we went to all the conferences and we read the industry magazines and
right. But even the conferences, it isn't these questions that we address are not usually in-depth panel discussions.
No, they're not.
And they're not the kind of discussions that you're going to get from the industry people that you are lucky enough to sit across the table from at a conference. They're not something that somebody else's manager is going to talk to you about.
Right.
They're not it's not sexy enough to be an article in Rolling Stone.
Right. Right.
Right. It's not but and they're not the stuff that they talk to you about when you go to a conservatory, right? As we have discovered since going and speaking at some conservatories, and having the professors turn around and look at us and go, what are you saying?
Wow. Boy, nobody says that.
Right.
And part of it is that it's not sexy.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And that can be very depressing if you approach it wrong.
Right. Well, and remember, I'm glad you said it that way, Adam, because it's really important to remember, because this is one of those discussions that could feel this way.
Right.
This is never us trying to talk you out of doing something.
Look, if you're listening to this podcast, if you're taking the time to listen to this podcast, you either enjoy listening to us talk about this stuff, or you have made the fool-headed decision to run headlong into a career in the music business.
Right. Or the brilliant decision to run headlong into
the brilliant decision.
Right. Or the only decision that you could make, which is to be in the music industry because that's who you are.
And you're taking the time out of your busy life to try to gather some information from some people that you know will not lie to you, and that's us.
Exactly.
We will not lie to you.
And so, like always, what we're trying to do is we're trying to frame these very difficult topics in a positive manner to give you some hope.
Yep.
Give you some real information.
Exactly.
And hopefully some actionable steps that you can take to get yourself there.
Exactly. So that you're feeling like you have a little bit more control over what's happening.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you mentioned the fantasy thing to begin with, right?
Yes.
And that is a great place to start.
Yeah.
Because when you're thinking about your career, it should start there, right?
Yeah.
It starts with the fantasy. The rock star, pop star.
Yeah, totally.
Reggaeton star.
Look, anybody who ever
urban star
went through the horrible stages of learning how to play guitar had a fantasy about playing guitar. Anybody who's like held a microphone and was like, I want to be on stage.
Held it. It doesn't start with a microphone. Usually it starts with a brush.
Hairbrush.
Right. Hairbrush, curling iron. Roll on.
An empty, toilet paper roll, whatever it is you're pretending is a microphone.
Exactly.
That's great, and that is fantasy.
That's the fantasy.
And that's great.
Right. That's play acting, and that's great.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And imagining yourself, giving the Grammy speech.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd like to think
it's no different than a young baseball player picturing, bottom of the ninth,
right?
Tie score.
Yeah.
You're up, right? It's no different than that. It's the same thing. It's the fantasy.
And that's completely appropriate when you're 9, 10 years old with your wiffle ball bat in the backyard.
Totally.
When you're 11, 12, 13 years old with your baseball bat hitting off a tee in the backyard.
It's still appropriate.
It's still appropriate.
I think it's still appropriate.
Right?
Yeah.
Even once you're on a high school team, you're thinking it. You just don't talk about it anymore.
Right.
Right? But none of that matters if you're not practicing all the time.
Exactly.
And doing all the work. So
exactly.
what happens is that goes into...
dream.
The dream.
That's the dream. The dream of, this is really what I want my life to be.
I have a dream.
Yeah, this is what I want my life to look like.
Yeah.
I want my life to look like this. I want it to be filled, my days to be filled with this. I want, so the fantasy is all of that stuff. And the dream is...
But the fantasy you can basically do laying on your bed.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Right.
Picked up by the limo and right? Picture what it's going to look like.
Right.
By the time it's a dream thing,
yeah.
Now you're probably off the bed.
Yeah, and
doing
actually playing guitar.
Yeah.
Or singing to backing tracks.
Right.
Or
maybe writing some songs or goofing around a garage band.
Exactly.
Right? That's the dream part, and that's cool. This
like
is
looking around for who might be able to be in your band.
Yeah. Maybe have some auditions.
Exactly. We're thinking about, I bet that restaurant plays music.
So when I run into Jay-Z, what I'm going to say is I'll say.
Exactly.
Right? That's cool. And that's nothing to be made fun of. That is seriously, that's how it begins. You picture that. You picture your life.
and I love
happening
that.
that
I
way.
love that you said the thing about Jay-Z, right? Because that backs really, really well into what the next stage really is,
Which is?
that vision stage.
Yes.
You start to envision
Yes.
where you might be.
Right.
What part of the country am I going to want to live in?
Yeah.
To do that.
Where you start to manipulate in your head what you might want it to look like.
Yeah.
Because it's more than now just a fantasy. It's more than just
It's
a
a
dream.
step beyond a dream. It is now.
You're starting to go, all right,
Do
I
I
can
go to
see this.
school?
Right. Maybe I go to school for this.
Do I go to school for this? Am I going to go to,
Or do I move to New York? Do I move to LA? Do I
Right.
move to Nashville? Do I
Should
move
I-
to London?
You know what? I know how to play guitar, but I can't seem to get over this hump. Maybe I should get a guitar teacher.
Right. Maybe I'll
To give me
maybe
that
learn
next-
how to play piano as well.
Right.
Maybe I'll start recording other people so I become a better engineer and I know
Right.
what I'm doing and my songs sound better.
Right. I'm a vocalist. I'm going to get myself some vocal lessons.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna take that opportunity that that friend of mine who's got the band that's successful has asked me to come sing backup for them.
I'm going to go do that.
I'm gonna go do that.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That's still in that vision.
But moving in towards the next stage, which is your goal.
Your goal. Right. And then the goals that surround how now I'm starting to have goals. All right. So I am going to move to New York, Austin, Nashville, LA, Atlanta, Chicago, right? I am going to be a part of, because these are hubs that have a good representation of the kind of music I play,
Absolutely.
right? I'm going to have that goal. Maybe I will go to school there first,
Yeah.
right? Make sure I like the way it feels to live there.
Right. Well, and that's in your goal stage, you would be testing things out.
Right.
Understanding that there's some information you need
Yes.
that you're missing.
Right.
Right. And I love that. I remember when we were interviewing Rich Redmond.
Yes.
He talked about if you want to move to a city, go vacation there for a couple weeks.
Right.
Go see what it's like.
See if you dig it.
See if you dig it. Go do an Airbnb
Right.
for a week, 2
Yeah.
weeks, and see, what do I think?
And look, we know that you're musicians and there's not a lot of extra cash for that kind of thing. You
Gotcha.
got to figure out a way to make it happen.
Right. Because I just think it's probably poor planning to go, I'm moving to wherever.
Well, look, man, we've known people who've done that,
Yep.
right? And it doesn't usually work out well.
Nope.
They get there and there's a huge parts of it that they don't like,
Yep.
right?
The ones who are living in the towns where they said they would move went out and did vacations.
Yeah.
A
Or
week, or went
for-
back over a period of years, would
had
go back for a
relatives
little
that they
bit.
could stay with when they were there, or friends that were living there already, and say, "Hey, man, can I crash on your couch for a couple of days? Can I, and push that to a week because you're a musician,
Exactly.
So a couple
Book-
days means a
book
week,
some shows. Maybe see what the scene feels like.
right? Exactly.
Go check out some open mics, or go check out some other bands, some local bands, and see what it feels like.
See, is your music going to fit in that area, right?
And during your goals section, it's turning into what is this next step, which is
Right. Am I going to be a solo artist?
right,
Do I look for a band?
right,
Right. Am I more of just a songwriter? Right. Is
Yep.
that, or am I not? Am I? You know what? I don't even want to be a front man. I want to be somebody's side guy
right.
or side person.
Sure,
Right.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But that moves you into action steps,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Which is now we've gone from fantasy into the dream, into having a vision, into turning that into a goal, into taking action steps.
Yeah.
When you start flying to cities to see if you want to live there.
Right.
When you start doing gigs and
Right.
schmoozing with people in the industry and learning about what's really happening in
Looking
this
for your-
career that you're maybe now involved in.
Right. Looking for your scene.
Yeah.
Looking for the people that you're going to be. Remember, you're going to be hanging out with mostly musicians.
Right.
Right. Find those musicians. Those industry people. Those and yeah, that's part of the action steps. And one of the things I want to point out is there's no hard and fast line between any of these.
No, nor
there's a tremendous difference between the fantasy and the action steps.
yes.
Right. But it's a little squishy where the line is between fantasy and dream.
Right.
And it's a little squishy about where the line is between dream and vision.
And I don't know that it's really important or necessary for you to figure out where you are in this
Right.
timeline.
Yeah. Well, it's great because I don't think it is a timeline.
Okay, like it.
I really don't. I think that they're all there all at the same time.
Sort of like Jeremy Bearimy.
Kind of like Jeremy Bearimy. Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Yes, exactly.
Obscure reference to a TV show we like. So.
Absolutely. Because you never give up the dream.
Right.
The dream is always there.
Right.
And this is where we as musicians and artists get the idea that the silver bullet exists,
Exactly.
right? That we're going to get the gig,
The contract,
the showcase,
the manager.
Right? Oh my God.
He had no management.
The booking agent.
The booking agent.
Right.
The record deal or the publishing deal or
Right.
the deal. Some
and that,
deal.
that is going to take you from action steps to dream immediately.
Yeah. And that'll be it.
That's
now,
it.
And then you're on the cover of Rolling Stone. And then apparently you never think about it again. Like you just.
Right. No, you never do.
Like that's it. After my,
Right. You get the record deal and you're on the top of the mountain.
Right. I remember we had a producer really
Yeah.
early on in our career who we sort of were talking that way.
Yeah.
And he heard us and he's like, so remember that the record deal isn't like the top of the mountain.
It's not even midway.
I'm like, is it like like halfway up or like 2/3 of the way up? He's like, no, that's you can see the mountain.
You're
Like maybe at the foot
you
of the
might
mountain.
be at the base of the mountain.
I've in my head changed that, and I'm like, you're looking for parking in the little area where you park before you start hiking up the mountain.
Yes.
Right? You're
Yeah.
like, okay,
Right.
I'm apparently going to climb a mountain.
Exactly.
Although, and again, record contracts and that sort of stuff are not really what we're looking at.
Manager.
Right.
Publishing deal.
Right.
The showcase.
Yeah.
Right. Like none of those things are the silver bullet. None of those things are the
top of the mountain.
right. Now you've made it.
Right.
Now
right.
you've arrived. It doesn't work that way.
No.
And as I said before, it may have, but I don't think it ever really has.
No, I agree. Yeah.
And it may have felt that way to certain people.
Yes.
That they were slogging around, playing shows, playing gigs, and all of a sudden,
they got discovered.
they get discovered, right?
Yes. We've talked to two people where that was sort of their experience in their memory of it.
Right. And the part that we didn't push back on is, well,
Yeah.
so you were in the right place at the right time because you had done all of the action steps that you needed to do
Exactly.
to fulfill the goal that was the
Part of your
predecessor to the vision
Exactly.
that would
That you've
get
been
you
dreaming
to the
about.
dream,
Yeah.
right? That you've
Yeah.
been dreaming about. That started with the fantasy
Yeah.
playing air guitar
Right.
in front of the mirror,
Right. Exactly.
right? And so you don't just skip all these other steps,
Exactly.
right? However, and this is the part that I really do want to clarify a little bit. You really do want to have some space in your head and spend some time once in a while thinking about the dream
Yeah.
and allowing that to play out.
Well, because part of what's important if you're going to be happy doing it is you got to know what you want,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yes.
You have to know what you want.
Yeah.
And then what happens is the further along you get into it, you understand there are other pieces to this career that maybe you didn't understand.
Right. Exactly.
Right? Like everybody knows if you want to be a famous rock star, pop star, reggaeton star, or whatever, that there's touring involved,
Right.
right? But most of the people beginning at the fantasy stage have never toured.
Right. No.
They're not aware of what that means.
Right. They might have, gone on vacation with their family.
Yeah, and that's a little bit different. If we're being generous, that's a little bit different than touring.
It's a lot different.
If we're being realistic, it's
Unless
a
you're
lot different.
Unless your mom or dad are psycho.
Right. In which case, sorry.
And put you in the car for 6 to 8 weeks at a time where you don't ever get quite enough sleep.
And you don't always sleep in a hotel.
And no. You're going to sleep in the car.
And you eat
What you can.
And your stomach is just always mildly upset, and they're feeding you like
So if you've had
French fries and coffee.
Right. So if you have that kind of family, you might understand what it's like to be on the road.
Right.
But chances are you probably don't.
There's a lot of unusable downtime
Right. Yes. Exactly.
and exhaustion.
Right. So again, what I liked about how we started that was talking about you have this dream of what it is.
Right.
And allow yourself to think about the result. What's my life going to look like?
Yes.
Right? What do I want my life to feel like and look like? When do I, right? What do my days look like? Right?
Absolutely.
But then you can you need to let go of that.
Yes.
And get back to this is what I'm going to do today.
Yes.
So there's this dichotomy of living, having that dream still be there.
Yep.
But then you got to keep your head where your body's at.
Yes.
You got to keep your mind where your body's at on a daily basis.
You got to be here now.
You got to be here now.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is true for everything. This is true for
Totally.
If you're going to do a great guitar solo, you need to be in the middle of that guitar solo, completely 100% present.
Right.
If you're going to do a vocal run,
Right. Yeah.
right? You like my vocal run?
I loved it. I'm going to sample that. That's going to be my ringtone.
Hey, Adam's calling. You have to be. That's my skills. I don't need to brag or anything. Just
His skills.
I got skills. So, but you got to be in the middle of that so that it sounds as good as mine. I don't want to make you guys feel bad. Look, I've been at this a long time. Okay, practicing for a long time. I don't know why. I don't know why you're giving vocal lessons, man.
I don't know either.
It should be me.
That should absolutely be
I
you.
don't know. Hey, was that one of Adam's students? How could you tell? The vocal runs, crazy vocal runs. So,
Yes. No. Exactly.
being in the middle of it.
Being in the middle of it. So, being present, doing those action steps,
Yes.
so that you've got a way to get toward that goal,
Yes.
right? And a realistic goal,
Yes.
right? Your goals should be not your dream.
Correct. Yes.
Right?
Oh, I like that.
Your goal and your dream. This is why we separated these.
Yes.
Your goal and your vision
Yeah.
is different. Your vision is, I want to be a touring musician,
Yes.
making enough money
Yes.
that I'm not losing, that I'm making money while I'm out,
Yes.
so that I don't have to do a day job when I come back.
Well,
That's a vision.
And goals. You should have multiple levels of goals.
Multiple level
multiple
goals.
distances of goals.
Yes.
Right. I know we don't want us to all be linear, but have a 1 month goal, a 6 month goal, a 1 year goal.
I'm so glad that you said that.
A 3 year goal, a 5 year goal, a 10-year goal.
I love that you said that, because you talked again about what we had just said about the difference between having this be a linear process and having it be what it actually is, which is that it's all going on at the same time. Right? That's important to remember, that it is all going on at the same time. You have made this decision
Yep.
to be a musician.
Yes.
You have a dream of what that means.
Yep.
You have a vision of how you might sort of achieve that.
Yes.
Right? I'm going to move to this city.
Yes.
I'm going to go to this school.
Yes.
I have made these contacts with people who are more successful than I am right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I can to ingratiate myself into that world.
And
I'm going to bring value to their
Exactly
life
right.
in a way that they will want me around.
And remember, in order to be able to do that, you need to be able to do some self-seeking, some understanding of who you are, so you know what value you bring.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
If you don't know what value you bring to the table, you have a real hard time shopping yourself as a useful service.
That may be an extra. That may be an extra podcast.
Yeah.
Talking about value.
Yeah.
So, but you've got this goal. Then these the goals are underneath the vision.
Yes.
Right. I've got this vision of this is how I'm gonna. This is maybe one of the ways I might sort of present myself so that I can get to that dream.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then the goal is how you're going to get to that vision.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
And the action steps are what you're going to do on the daily.
Yep.
These are the things that you're going to be writing these in your calendar.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You are going to have your calendar is going to be your schedule, so you're going to schedule something every day.
Yes.
And that way it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, but I'm a musician. I'm kind of creative. I don't really like to do a schedule. Well, that's okay. It's all right if other people get the gigs that you want.
It's okay. Everybody else is going to get the gig, and that's cool.
Because all things being equal, if you're talented and somebody else is talented and they're more organized, than you are, they win.
I will one-up you on that.
They get the gig. Okay.
I will one-up you.
Go ahead.
If you're talented and they're talented and you're more talented and they're organized,
They're going to
win.
Right. And so why not just stop beating around the bush and get organized?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
We're trying to get rid of the magical thinking.
Right. That's the whole point.
Right?
Yep.
And let's give them a quick example of what magical thinking would look like.
Okay.
Like, let's say you and I were playing at an open mic in Portland, Maine.
Right.
A number of years ago.
Yeah. And it might have even been, maybe we're even playing at like an Irish pub.
Yes. And this Irish pub, let's say it was near the Civic Center where Billy Joel was playing.
Let's say it's literally the next building over.
Yeah. All right. Let's say that. There's a little parking lot in between them. Mm-hmm. And Billy Joel comes in.
For instance,
to get a drink because, I don't know, whatever. And then you're thinking, as the young cat in his early 20s, oh my God, Billy Joel's going to hear us play a song and we'll get discovered. Okay, let's break this down. Yes, this was our actual thinking at the actual time. Let's break this down. All right.
Okay, so just a little. I don't want to go too far on the story because the story is real.
Yes.
What actually happened was he came in after we had done our
song
set.
Well, it wasn't a set. It was a song.
We
played one song.
We were one of the featured artists there, and he came in after us.
Oh, man.
And if only he had been there, we would have been discovered, man.
And we were bummed about this for like months.
Oh yeah.
I don't even get it. You know,
right?
Why didn't they put us on? Whatever.
Right.
Well, okay. So here's the thing.
Billy, one of the things.
Billy was probably in there because something had annoyed him at soundcheck.
Yeah.
At the show, and he had to get out of the building. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go get a drink.
Right.
And he's walked out backstage and said, "That looks like a bar." And he came in to get a drink. Oh, look, there's music. And he had his little drink.
Right.
Tried to not get recognized, and then he left. He's not out looking for.
He's not talent scouting.
He's not talent scouting. All right, and then even if Billy
he had his manager with him, his manager's not talent scouting.
Right. And let's say we were that good.
Yes.
Right?
We weren't, but let's say we were.
We definitely were not. But let's say we were. That's still not it. Even if that was getting, let's do air quotes here, discovered.
Right.
Cool. What is that going to mean? You maybe get somebody's card.
Right.
And that's in the old days. Now they maybe, you swap, hey, what's your Instagram?
right.
and they find you. Or they probably don't even talk to you now because you got your little Instagram thing. They just check you out on Instagram. And if you're awesome, maybe they'll continue following you and see what else happens.
Right.
That's not, there's no,
no.
What value were we bringing?
Right. Exactly.
We're playing a song. Everybody was playing a song.
Right.
They're literally, it's an open mic. They're literally all playing songs.
And just to qualify, nobody else got discovered that night either.
That's exactly right.
And there were some phenomenal musicians there. Phenomenal
musicians. Right? But the thing is, like, okay, that's cool. And that's excellent. It's a fun story. Hey, Billy Joel was there at my set.
Right.
What if we were amazing? Maybe Billy Joel would go, hey, you guys are awesome. Thanks, man.
Right.
Cool. And maybe we hit it off. I don't know. But but that's not the thing. There's no bullet. There's no silver bullet that's going to make everything work, and you now sit down and everybody else does all the work for you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, and even if you did at that point get signed somehow from that.
Okay.
It's not done.
It's not even the beginning. It's you now.
Now you have to figure out. Now you have to figure out how you're going to pay for the recording because the record company's not going to pay for it anymore.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing: if somebody signs you, they want the reason people would sign you most of the time is because they see something like, I can make money off that.
Yes.
And not because it doesn't mean you're not good. It doesn't mean you don't have value. It doesn't mean it's not about the art. But the reason people want to sign you is that it's the music industry and they want to make money from what you're doing. Hey, that's awesome.
Right.
Let's make some money.
Yes.
Right? What value do you bring? That's the other. You're right. And that's what is your value add is another podcast.
Yes.
You can listen to that. So, but in the reality, if you could enjoy that situation as, dude, Billy Joel saw us tonight.
Right.
That's awesome. You know what's going to happen? Later on in my dream, we're going to open up for Billy Joel.
Right.
Or insert modern artist here.
Right. I'm going to meet him and I'm going to say, hey, man, you were at a gig that I played, like 5 years ago. It was awesome. It really inspired me because I was like, man, I'm that close to being.
Yes.
Right.
There we go. Use it as an inspiration to what?
Exactly.
To work harder.
Yeah.
To be better so that you can.
I'm going to be the guy who leaves the Centrum to go check out this little, get
Yes.
a drink at this little club.
Exactly.
Right.
Instead of thinking somebody else is going to rescue you
Yes.
like you're friggin' Cinderella.
That's a perfect, yeah, that's it exactly. There is no
Not
rescue.
the band Cinderella. They didn't need rescuing. They did just fine.
Right. There's no silver bullet. There's no magic carpet
No.
that's going to rescue you and swoop you up. And that isn't how it works. That doesn't mean that your dream isn't achievable.
Or that in looking forward or looking backward, you might not have these really important, pivotal moments.
Yes.
Where you're like, oh, look, that was that moment. That was
Right.
that gig. That was that club. That was that contact. That was that relationship. That was that thing.
Right. But most of the time, that's all going to be retrospect thinking.
And it's all about relationships, guys.
Retrospective thinking.
Retrospective thinking.
I
Yeah.
think, I think that's how you would say that.
Thinking in retrospect. But
Yes.
relationships.
Yes.
And relationships don't happen in 35 seconds.
Right.
They happen over a period of time.
Right. Okay. So, again, to clarify, the reason that we want to talk about this, the reason that we're going into depth about this,
Yes.
is because we want you to enjoy the day that
Yes.
you're in right now.
Right.
It's about long game.
Yeah.
Your dream is long game.
Yes. Exactly right.
Your dream and long game, guys, that doesn't mean 18 months.
No.
It doesn't mean 36 months.
No, it means this is your
This is
path.
it.
This is the deal.
This is it.
And it doesn't mean you're not going to have great things happen in the next 18 months.
You
next
will
36
have
months.
way more great things happen, I promise you, if you are not counting on them to happen.
Yeah.
Or waiting for them to happen so that you will be
I'll be happy when
right.
I get a manager. I'll be happy when I get this gig. I'll be happy when
Right.
I get that publishing deal.
I will enjoy gigs when
When it's everybody here to see me and my name's on the marquee in the biggest letters.
right.
Right?
Well,
Or whatever.
so you're not going to have fun. You're not going to enjoy gigs before that happens. Here's what I can promise you if that's the way you're thinking. That will never happen.
Yes.
Because you'll be miserable
Yep.
playing those gigs and everybody in the audience will feel it.
Exactly. Exactly. So this isn't just about, fluffy words and like, you gotta
Right.
feel good and have a blah, blah, blah. No, this is
Right.
tactical. These are actionable things, guys.
Tactical is a great word. But and it's like three other examples just came to my head. We talk all the time about doing co-writes.
Yes.
You do co-writes with whoever is willing to do a co-write with you that you think is a decent songwriter.
Right.
You don't get to write songs with Laurie McKenna
Yeah.
right off the bat.
That's who you write with after you win the Grammy
Right.
for New Artist of the Year.
Exactly.
Then they're like, who you should write with?
Right. So you start with writing with the people around you who are talented, who want to write with you.
Yeah.
And then then you get to the next level and the next level. Right?
And the more you can be present while you're doing that, the easier that's going to be. The more fun you're going to have.
Exactly.
The more productive you're going to be. The more people are going to want to be around you.
Exactly.
The more people will give you a gig and want to give you a contract and put you on a showcase. And why? Because you're in the moment and you're really talented. You're bringing something of value.
Right.
Just because there's no silver bullet doesn't mean there's nothing you can do.
There's always something you can do.
We're just saying it's not. We want to help you get rid of the magical thinking part.
Exactly. Getting rid of that magical thinking will help you get that positive attitude while you're doing those
Yes.
actionable steps.
Yes.
And that positive attitude will make those goals more achievable.
Exactly.
Will get you to that vision.
Because it makes your existence more bearable, more exciting, more joyous.
Exactly.
And the more joyous it is, the longer you're going to be able to deal with this. Right? So that you
Yes.
can really have your work pay off.
Yeah.
Because we want you guys to have have your work pay off.
Yeah, we
want
do.
you to feel good.
That's why we're doing it.
That's exactly right.
Remember, you got this.
We got your back.